Welcome to Conscious Living Collective, transformative journey in consciousness with community of like-minded people, which is you. My name is Tomek. I'm a scientist, teacher, and transformation coach. In this live session, I want to blend the latest in the scientific research, the deep wisdom of mindfulness, and the art of fulfilled living. As always, this is an invitation to you to have your own first-hand direct experience, to rewrite your story, and to emerge on the other side with a renewed sense of purpose and well-being. Welcome to today's session with the topic of safety, clarity, and inner coherence. Very good to be here and very good to see you all. I just want to, as always, start with acknowledging wonderful members of my Patreon program. Hello, Parvana. Hello, Anne. Good to see you here. And also the regulars, Sandy, Joanna, Gwendolyn, Charmaine, very good to see you here. I can see, are there anyone who's here for the first time? I'm always curious to know. Thelma Steer, very good to see you here. Thelma, have you been to CLC before? Very good to see you all here. And yeah, first time, I thought so. As I said, yes, Raphael is new. I can see that they restored in the dashboard the floating icons, which is very reassuring because I like to see your faces, even though in the form of a small picture. Hello, Anita. Good to see you here. It's always reassuring to add a face to the name, even if you communicate. The only way of communication with me is via the comments below. For those of you who are new, in Conscious Living Collective, it's all about first-hand experience. And the lead up to have your first-hand experience is a conversation. Conversation is helping to, like I said, set up a stage. Bring the understanding and knowledge that then can be put into use in your own practical way. For those of you who know me, my favorite scientific equation is that knowledge plus experience equals wisdom. And ultimately, we are here to learn something about ourselves. That's what I call wisdom. It's not just to recognize things that we already know, but perhaps during the practical part, which is the second part, recognize, something has shifted in me. I have rewritten my story, as I include in the introduction to our session. I also want to acknowledge Peder Helland, who's supporting us with his wonderful music, Dreaming. If you wish to visit his profile inside Timer, he's got plenty of wonderful background pieces that will support your journey, and he will also support us today in his with his music. Safety, clarity, and inner coherence is my attempt to follow up on our previous session where we were talking about heart intelligence. We are very familiar with the kind of brain intelligence when we recognize brain as the processing center of all that is. And I dare say that if you look around, our civilization was built predominantly utilizing that resource of intellect. However, I also want to invite you today to recognize that this is not the only resource, and I think I've been trying to do that throughout all sessions of Conscious Living Collective, to tap into resources that are beyond our intellect and our thinking mind. As a matter of fact, I can say to myself, and I can say with confidence, that my mind have been causing me more trouble than give me the benefit. As a matter of fact, I will invite you in the meditation part today to actually recognize mind only as a part of your experience, and how recognizing its valid place can lead to safety, clarity, and ultimately coherence. Coherence is a term I'll explain later. I already explained it in the previous sessions, but for those of you who are here for the first time, I'll be happy to do it again. So the session, it's aimed to build on our exploration of the heart vibrations. We know that the heart has its own separate neural network that, even though it doesn't have the verbal component or the speech center as it happens in your brain, it still plays a very important role in our understanding of the world around us and to establish connection with ourselves. So in today's session, we aim to deepen that state of inner coherence or harmony, but by cultivating safety and clarity, but from within. This is a very important distinction. Very often on the level of the mind, we may assume that all the safety that happens to us comes from outside. It depends on our circumstances. I'm such and such. I have such and such position. I am accepted, not accepted. I am recognized, and so on and so forth. We all know the story that your mind tries to tell you. This is a story with which we grew up. Perhaps this is the only story that we know. So it's understandable that we follow the only story that we know. However, I want to invite you to recognize that safety and clarity comes from within. And we will practice that today. But the topic of the session is safety, clarity, and coherence. And I want to explain why safety comes first in this scenario. And I'm pretty sure that intuitively you can feel and know why that is. So safety comes between the clarity and coherence emerges for a simple reason that our nervous system, so on the physiological level, on the level of the body, can't access high awareness. That's what we all are craving for, desiring, that connection with ourselves, with people around us. So your nervous system can't access that higher awareness when it feels under threat. And this is simply a characteristic of our physical body, how it evolved. There's not much you can do about it. You are, so to speak, wired to downregulate or upregulate actually your nervous system and put you in the classic mode of high alert, we call fight, flight, or freeze, every time you do not feel safe. So it goes without saying that forget about accessing the higher state of consciousness if life around you perceive as dangerous, as threatening, if you're under threat. So safety allows the body to shift from the survival mode into openness and trust. So ask yourself right now, do you feel safe in this very moment? Do you see any threats, immediate threats that are upon you? And even, I want to point it out to you, even if there are none physically present around you, I'm sitting in my studio and, there's no physical sense. I feel in my stomach, right? I will do with you somatic experience called orienting and resourcing later on. That tells me that actually not everything is not everything is all right. And I actually do not know why that is. There are still situations from the past, maybe anticipation of the future, that tells you otherwise. So to recognize that, I want to ask you a simple question. What helps you feel safe and grounded in your daily life? What helps you feel safe and grounded in your daily life? And on the other side, what tends to disrupt that sense of inner safety? I'd like you to spend some time, a moment or two, thinking about it. What is your personal experience? What helps you feel safe and grounded in your daily life? And I'm happy to start with myself because I want to be part of the conversation. For me, it is a routine. For me, it is the fact that when I get up, I always start with, after going to bathroom and drinking water, I go and sit into my meditation. After which, I always look forward to preparing and brewing and drinking my coffee. And then usually I start with going out, interacting with nature. So it is a routine I can rely on, and that gives me a lot of safety. But what is for you? Perhaps you can share. What helps you on a daily basis to create that safety? Parvana says, when I feel in control. So you see, safety is very much connected with control. But I'd like to ask you, Parvana, and all of you, what specifically, if you could think for a moment, are there any aspects in your daily life that give you the sense of safety? And on the contrary, also, I want to ask you about these things that take you out of the safety. So again, I continue with maybe my story to encourage you to bring your answers and think to yourself. If routine is something that gives me this sense of control and hence safety, very often interacting with people takes me out of the control zone, particularly interacting with people that, well, I can say I'm not interested in interacting with. I think it comes without saying that not everybody is your friend. You cannot make everyone your friend. This has never been my intention. As a matter of fact, I want to connect with people that we share similar values with. There's a reason I'm coming to Conscious Living Collective and creating the sessions. It's not only for your benefit, but also it helps me to connect with my values, my core values, and help me to hence express myself in a way that I found beneficial. And I know for a fact that the way I express myself is beneficial to you because there is a sense of ease when I speak to you. There's a sense of acceptance that doesn't come from you, but it comes from within me as a creative expression of who I am. And I continuously create that or work or develop that creative expression. But safety comes first as a neurological and physiological need that has to be met before accessing the state of clarity and inner coherence. Am I making myself clear? Do you understand? Okay. Alfana says that knowing my family is safe. All right. But what does it mean that your family is safe? Is it physically safe? Is your family in danger at any given moment? Charmaine, predictability. Wonderful. Predictability is our ability to anticipate future. Does it make sense? And now, Charmaine, ask yourself, what is it in your control to know what is happening, what is going to happen tomorrow, day after tomorrow, a week from now? Because if it's not, the chances are that your brain will create a stress or a sense of threat. Because if you cannot predict future, which I don't believe anybody can, then that's the problem. That's the challenge. Going away from that narrative into things as they are in this very present moment. I always say that the point of power is always now. Actually, no, I'm going to correct myself. I did not come up with this saying or this expression. I believe I took it from Eckhart Tolle, who has written a book called The Power of Now. So I guess there you go. That's the correction part. Mel, physical touch, hug from husband. Wonderful. Mel, let me assure you that from the physiological point of view, from the point of view of safety, the same way as your nervous system responds with agitation when you feel under threat, physical touch is designed to calm you down. That's why first thing what you do with a baby, if you want to calm it down, you give it a hug, you come close to your heart, right? They feel the resonance coming from your heart and they feel safe. So that's wonderful. More of that. Let's use what works. But my sweetie consistently makes me feel safe. There you go. So presence of people that we trust, and that may include physical touch. Now slowing down, okay? Intentionally recognizing slowing down, I can have a sense that slowing down represents coming back to the present moment. When your mind goes too far away into the past and too far away into the future, slowing down brings you slowly back to the now. That's how I understand it, at least. And being alone always feels safer than being with others. Okay, this is a very interesting point. And I certainly resonate with that because if people are not around me, there are no challenges. But at the same time, important thing to ask yourself is, can you always be by yourself? Is it always beneficial to you? Certainly as a permanent state. And for me personally, the answer is no. Even though I like being by myself, I'm an extrovert, and the fact that I'm creating those sessions is my attempt to connecting. But it's not about connecting, but it's connecting with the right people. And I think that's where the challenge is. All right? So thank you for sharing, Anne. But contrary, my fear of interacting with nearly all people. So we have affirmation, what Anne said. Anita, when I have achieved some daily goals, being productive, also managing to fit in some self-care, exercise, experience a successful harmonious interaction with others. So Anita, this is a great point. That's something that again comes out of control. I'm working with a client currently that loves creating to-do lists and tick the boxes and get a lot of satisfaction or dopamine boost from the fact that the tick can be put on the list. And I think this is a wonderful way of controlling your environment. However, I also want you to consider, how do you feel outside of the safety net? Or is there room to expand to the situations where it's not moving from one task to another? And we'll attempt that during meditation part of the session today. So this is your challenge for you, Anita, mostly on the mental level, right? Ask yourself this question, and then maybe there's a practical part to it as well. Alfana, yes, my parents are up and interacting. Okay. Raphael, living and staying in moment allows me to feel safe. That's very meditative. However, I want to ask you, does that apply to all the situations or only when you're by yourself? Charmaine, very challenging. Yes, I also believe the power is the now. And Joanna says, isolation exacerbates lack of safety. I think we all experienced that during time of COVID, that we are ultimately social creatures. That's a characteristic of organism called Homo sapiens. We evolved as a group, and we get or draw safety from being together. But once again, the caveat here is not just with anyone, but it's important to choose people that we resonate with, that empower us. And I want to refer you now to my course, 6 Pillars of Conscious Living, that actually, if you haven't taken it, I know someone of you here has taken it, but I actually make a whole one episode, and one of the pillars refers to your ability to mindfully connect with people. And before you do that, obviously mindfully connecting with yourself. Mel, my life has changed due to chronic illness that has led me to working toward letting go of control. That is very interesting. And on that note, I something I listened to today when I think that phrase has been used so many times and abused, that everything happens for a reason. I do not believe it blindly, but certainly a lot of situations in our life, if we have courage to examine them, they carry some form of a lesson. And clearly, Mel, you may already have learned that lesson, that perhaps small part of the reason why the chronic illness appeared is to learn, for you to learn to let go of control, that ultimately is beneficial. You don't want to be a doormat, obviously, but there is a part. How many meditations I have recorded with the art of letting go, right? Just the recent one. Being able to let go in the meditation space, right? Recognizing that you already are fulfilled, you have already arrived along those themes. There's a connection between, we talked about manifestation in the previous episodes, where it comes from relying on the higher aspect of self that already knows that you are fulfilled. There's nothing to prove, there's nothing to really achieve. You are already here. It's more about using, and again, that's the clarity and coherence that I want to talk as the next part. Then we pass safety, that we are already safe. An example of it is me in the present moment, right here with you. There's no immediate danger, even though I feel an echo of something that happened recently that still is in my stomach, so to speak. So I can somatically, I can recognize the echoes of the past, but they are echoes. And do we want to allow the echoes to dominate our life, or would we rather present moment empower us to live the life as is? So you see, there's a balance. There's some form of intelligence that we want to recognize. Okay. So yeah, that's why safety comes first. That's why I want always recognize in meditations, the practical part, that you, at least on the intellectual level, well, on all levels, but starting with the intellectual level, recognize to yourself that things are all right in this very moment. Okay? You may hear me saying things. You may not have felt safe in the past at some point. There will be situations in the future where safety will be, or you will feel threatened. But right here and now, what is it? Okay. So one of the things that we will be doing in just a moment in our practice is to finding clarity through your body. Okay. Body is the most sophisticated instrument, scientific instrument, I dare say, of resonance. A resonance with the life outside of you and the life within you. Your body, even if I ask you right now to tune in, your body will give you an immediate feedback on how you are. Can you check in with yourself and ask your physical body, the sensations, the general heartfelt sense? Ask yourself, am I safe? Am I all right? What is the feedback of your body? Is there something missing? Or am I fulfilled and empowered in this very moment? And if not, where can I go with it? Again, my abdomen gives me signals that, yeah, there's something there I have to deal with. Right? There are signals there. And I'm being brutally honest with myself and with you that there are challenges. Not everything is peachy just because I decide to meditate or be in the present moment. We try to be very practical here. It requires a lot of courage. I talk about courage a lot because it's that vibration that begins the whole process. Things might not be all right in the present moment. By recognizing them or showing courage to recognize it, you make things better. Okay? Does make sense? Any other questions towards that point? Yeah, so yeah, I wanted to invite you. Parvana, I feel okay until I question it. So, stirring the pot. Right? This is what we do here in a safe environment. Sometimes we do stir the pot. So thanks, Parvana, thank you for bringing that up. This is not a promise to simply feel conscious living collective. Is not a promise to simply offer you instant relief. It is a promise to offer you tool for your inner transformation. So once you stir it up and bring it to the surface and you gather the courage to see what that is, it will be resolved and will be integrated within your awareness and ultimately release energy for you to live the way you want to live. So yeah, I invite you to shift from mental overthinking to embodied sensing. It's a very powerful ability of every human being. We live in the era where overthinking dominates our life. And I'm inviting you to move from overthinking, first of all, recognize it, to embodied sensing. How does that overthinking manifest on the level of your bodily sensations? We'll do it in a meditation as well. So the clarity, that's the second part of the of our session. It's in the topic of our session. Is not only a cognitive state. It is very easy to misunderstand that you can talk yourself into clarity or sense of safety. That clarity I'm talking about is not a cognitive state, it's more a felt sense of alignment in your body. When you are sick, if your body is diseased, right? There's lack of ease in your body. You can cognitively talk to yourself in front of the mirror over and over again and ask for clarity. That's not going to happen. You must address whatever happens within your body, and that's what we'll be doing today. I give you tools of recognition of that, and see what happens when you do it. If you gain more of that clarity that I'm talking about. So right now, before we jump into longer meditation, check in with yourself once again. How does the clarity feel in your body? What signals tell you when something is truly right for you? And again, do not think about the past. Take a deeper breath and check within yourself. You can even quantify the clarity. Right? For me, it would be, there's maybe 70% clarity and 30% uncertainty. And still, what's in my stomach, it's coming to the surface. Okay, what does it feel to you? Perhaps you can share the percentage of the clarity that you're experiencing right now. Okay, so yeah, and 50-50. Good, good. So as I wait for your answers, I want to introduce the last point, which is from our topic, which is coherence. And in coherence, I really like this term because as a scientist, it it appeals to my scientific mind. But for those of you who are not scientifically oriented, which is absolutely not necessary to attend the sessions of Conscious Living Collective, I simply try to use the language that is approachable to you. So I always explain things, and you always are free to ask me questions to clarify. The state of coherence is the state of alignment between body, mind, and heart. So you have three components. You have body. Physiologically, you feel, well, I'm not experiencing a heart attack. Aneurysm is not popping in my head. My body is okay. Could be better, could be worse. It's okay. My mind, what do I feel on the level of the mind? And how does it translate to my sensations? Oh, I feel, again, 70%. And now, because we are not aware what's happening in our body, you can breathe in and through your heart to connect or to engage that neural network that we spoke about in order to see if there is any energy or resources that you can tap into, the resources that you're not normally not aware of. Is there a sense of coherence, which is, I always translate as the sense of harmony within those three components of you: body, mind, and heart. Okay. Yeah, Lucy 60, Alfana 70. That's great. 50% speculation, not knowing how to proceed, communicate. Thank you, Anita. Bad, 75%. Okay, it's always hard to quantify. I understand that. But I just did a Vegas calming, some yoga, and some resonating songs, so I'm set up well. And you see, this is a great example of it. What we are about to do, some somatic experience. Again, using your physical body as an instrument, scientific, precise instrument of resonance, and tuning it, tuning into it, and tuning it. Yeah, maybe I can't express myself fully, but I hope you understand. We will use it. Our body is at our disposal, even though we don't control so many of its functions moment-to-moment basis. It is at our disposal to use. And we want to use it in a very empowered and fulfilling way. That's what I'll invite you to in just a moment. So coherence, when we doing exercises that lead to coherence, they result in bringing ease to the nervous system. They enhance emotional regulation, which is what it means that when an unpleasant state appears, your ability, your resources, when you're in coherent state, when a challenge happens, are much greater. Your chances of dealing with that situation is much greater because you have enhanced emotional regulations. That's what enhanced emotional regulation is. That's what the purpose of this session is, to enhance your emotional regulation, your ability to deal with anything and everything. And as in turn, coherence supports clear and heart-aligned actions. Most of the actions that we take these days are brain aligned or mind aligned, are based on what we know intellectually. And this is part of the problem, because we're so convinced, we have so many limiting beliefs that we consciously and subconsciously follow, that we putting ourselves into our well-being in jeopardy over and over again. And I simply allow yourself to look at the state of the world today. There's a great potential in it, don't get me wrong, but also there's a lot of dissonance. And we want to go towards coherence, towards harmony. Okay. All right. I want to continue next week. Sorry, on Wednesday, and some of you Tuesday, with the state of coherence. I think it's too big of a topic to just talk about it during one session. And today I want to invite you to meditation, to once again, for those of you who joined for the first time, recognize to yourself, what does it mean to move from where you are to the state of greater clarity and coherence within your body, okay? And I will use that method based on everything that we spoke. I will use heart-centered breathing as a tool, a somatic tool to align you, align your nervous system, align your brain, and align your entire body. Okay? And part of this experience will be another somatic tool that is called orienting and resourcing. And as a matter of fact, we will start with this one. Okay? All right. So as I mentioned at the beginning, we'll be accompanied by Peter Helland and his wonderful dreaming, which is a perfect soundscape for our exploration. If you still have questions, I'll be happy to answer them at the end of our session. But now I want us to switch into meditation mode. Okay. This is my meditation mode. Okay. Begin this meditation with your eyes open. Look around you slowly and carefully and see for yourself if the environment around you is supportive of your inner environment. It is supportive of all your needs. Do not trust my words when I say you are safe, secure, and protected, but know it for yourself by connecting deeply with the space around you. And see for yourself if you feel supported in this very moment. And when you recognize this is true to you, then allow your eyes to close gently. Bring a soft smile on your face that is in the recognition of that safety that you're experiencing right now. Also recognize that you are not alone in this very moment, but you are supported by me standing by your side and everybody else who's meditating with you in this very moment. Check in with yourself, how you feel right now. Do you think there is a room for an improvement of how you feel? Are you satisfied with the present state? Or you are dissatisfied with the present state? Whichever is the truth to you, start there. Regardless of the circumstances that you are in this very moment, you have the ability to breathe. And I want to invite you to connect with the physical sense of expansion and contraction of your body as you breathe in and breathe out. Even in the harshest of conditions, the harshest of circumstances, breath is always with you. It is your most faithful companion. And now I want to ask you to use it as a tool of inner alignment. As you're connecting with your breath, begin directing it through your heart. Breathe into your heart and exhale as if you bringing all that vital energy that breath brings into your entire body. Breathe in through your heart and breathe out through your heart, including your entire body. Spreading vital energy to all the organs, all the cells. And feel for yourself how the simple heart-centered breathing support your well-being in this very moment. One breath at a time. Consider each breath as a separate practice. Consider that each breath aligns you a little bit more with clarity, brings you a little bit more coherence and harmony in the present state. It may happen that your mind will wander and you lose connection with your heart-centered breathing. This is absolutely normal. When you recognize mind wandering, simply bring yourself back and resume your practice that consists of a single breath at a time, and see how many practices you can fill in to the space between now and a few minutes from now, in which I will hold the space for you and stand by your side to bring you back when the time is up. And now it is time to return. Let go of the heart-centered breathing and recognize once again your current state. Can you feel a difference? This is just a beginning of your journey towards clarity and coherence that will improve each time you perform this exercise. Some of this coherence and clarity you may feel right now, and some of it is on the unconscious level that will come to the surface in the minutes and hours to come as the result of your effort to regulate yourself. And right now, I want to take you back into the space around you through your physical senses. Shift your awareness towards your vision. Connect with everything that is within your visual field, even with your eyes closed. Then shift your awareness towards your hearing, the sound of music, sound of my voice. Very briefly touch upon the senses of smell and taste, even though not very pronounced in this moment. And ground yourself in the sense of touch. Your feet on the floor, your hands in your lap, the perception of the boundaries of your physical body that connect with the space around you, bringing you more and more into physical state at a gentle movement, starting with your toes. Move your fingers and finish up by expanding your lungs with deep breath in through your nose and out through your mouth. And when ready, open your eyes and welcome back. Well, thank you so much for meditating with me. That was truly wonderful. It is always so pleasant to meditate with you, and that was no exception. So, what did you take away from this practice? How do you feel in this very moment? I'd be curious to know. AJ, thank you so much for your kind donation. It's very nice of you. Yeah, I'll start with myself. I certainly felt the resonance between how I felt and my ability to direct my breath through my heart and your presence. The inspiration and excitement I feel every time I come to Conscious Living Collective is the most profound indication of the resonance and alignment with who I am and my purpose. So that's why I keep coming back. Alfana, calm and centered. Charmaine, grounded and present. Shift ratio for Anita from 50-50 to 80-20. Again, it worked. Fantastic. You have a tool at your disposal that you can use, and I invite you to, all of you, to use it. Not necessarily in the long format. Not always it's possible to spend, 15-20 minutes meditating, although that helps tremendously when you do it on a daily basis. But simply taking a one deep conscious breath or heart-centered breath or couple in the situation when you feel challenged may actually shift the balance in a very positive direction. So that's what I invite you to. Parvana, heart-centered breathing helps regulate me, and that makes me feel safe. Parvana, I know you are an expert by now in heart-centered breathing. You did a lot of it, and that's the testimony to your commitment to this practice. And I really want to say that the more you, like Parvana, the more you practice, the more benefit you feel, the more confident you feel in the technique itself, because it is a training. You're training yourself. And if you feel firsthand the results of that connection, of the training, that you feel more empowered to do it. This is how science works, right? It's not only through me talking, but mostly through you practicing and putting all those tools into use. It's not just because you have, a hammer in your toolbox. You have to learn how to use it. Having is not enough. Putting our words into actions. This is the way how we interact with this physical reality. There's no other way. It is through physical actions, taking actions. Parvana, thank you so much for your kind donation. So I want to finish on the note that the practice continues. And again, I want to bring more to improve your calm and coherence in the next session that will happen later this week on Wednesday, Australian time, or Tuesday evening if you are in the US. You can check that after the session. Most likely the next one will appear on your dashboard or on your screen. But in the meantime, I invite you to keep practicing, and feel free to send me a message, if you will, to check in whether it worked, or maybe there's some changes that you wish to do. One of the things I offer outside of Conscious Living Collective are one-on-one sessions. And one-on-one sessions is this very special time where you can connect with me and share your personal story. During these sessions, you have the space to communicate and talk. And I am in a receptive mode. And we have that conversation on communication that leads ultimately to the inner transformation. This is the purpose of having one-on-one session with me, to achieve greater rate of inner transformation. The transformation happens all the time. And for those of you who wish to accelerate the process, these sessions are for you. So feel free to reach out. The link to my website is in my Insight Timer profile. So feel free to go there to connect with me, send me a message in whichever way you choose, and we can take it from there. But otherwise, I want to thank you for your presence. I want to thank you for your contribution to these sessions, for interacting with me. Charmaine, Gwendolyn, Alfana, thank you so much for your very kind and generous donations. I want to say that's very lovely of you. And I very much look forward, and I'm already excited about our next session, when we will dive even deeper into the stance of coherence and clarity. And I bring, hopefully connect through a conversation. We can practice together to see if between today and Wednesday, Tuesday evening, you can get somewhere and you can bring the results, and we can compare the notes, and we can have some fun with it and enjoy the process. Okay, I will leave you once again with Peter Helland and his Dreaming. Thank you so much for today. I look forward to seeing you next time.